Being kidnapped has to be the worst, right? Like literally the literal worst. Israel seems to be doing its part to rescue the more than 200 hostages currently being held by Hamas, and has extended a ceasefire by 2 days in exchange for more hostages to be released, allowing the war-torn country to take a few more gulps of fresh air before it is once again suffocated by the lack of food, water, medical supplies, and fuel. I know that all seems pretty heavy, but take a deep breath. We've got some good lighthearted news coming, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Don't Panic. I'm Ceasefire, and today we're going to be covering the extension of the ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. We've also got to talk about the troubling news emerging from China, a terrifying rise in the number of children getting sick with pneumonia. What is going on, and is another pandemic on the way? Please no. We're also talking about a woman who is trying to beat Putin in an election in Russia, and I wish her the best of luck. Yes, Russia does have elections, and yes, Putin has won 6 of them. I mean, who can blame the Russian people at this point? They've been fed so much propaganda about him. Like this picture. He's so... I am blown away that this exists, and I love it like a little too much. The wink. Listen, if you're gonna propagandize to me, at least give me a good beat. My favorite thing about this, though, is the fact that that was actually written as satire, and then Putin actually started using it at his rallies. Also, that will be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. You're welcome. And finally, on to our good news. A crane operator rescued 2 men from certain death. The rescue is so crazy, it reminds me of something out of a Fast and Furious movie a little bit. One of the older ones, not one of the newer ones. I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but I don't actually know why that wouldn't work. I know it wouldn't work. Like, something about that just doesn't work out in reality, but I don't know quite what it is. So Israel, as of the time of writing this, has stopped attacking Gaza in exchange for more hostages to be released. It was announced that the primarily Jewish country has agreed to extend the ceasefire for 2 more days. The pause in the fighting was originally supposed to last only 4 days, but now it's lasting 6. This is good news for Palestine. Okay. Maybe not good news, because when your hospitals look like this, nothing short of a miracle is good news, but it's not super bad news. Israel agreed to release 150 more of Palestine's prisoners. Plus, this is going to give time for Gaza citizens to flee. And according to John Kirby, the White House Security Council spokesman, it's also going to allow for a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza, including 2,000 trucks carrying supplies and tens of thousands of gallons of fuel. So what's in it for Israel? In exchange for the pause and the release of prisoners, Hamas agreed to release some of the captives that it took on October 7th. Strangely enough, Israel at the time of writing this hasn't actually confirmed the deal. Qatar was the one who told everyone about it, just like they were the one to mediate all of the talks between Hamas and Israel.
Just tell them to leave!
They really need you to leave. No. They said no.
Just tell them to leave!
No!
With some nudging by America. Kirby and Biden have both said that they want the pause to be extended even further, with Kirby saying, "We'd certainly like to see that extension extended even further until all of the hostages are released." Part of their interest is that they think that Hamas has 8 or 9 American citizens as part of their captives. 8 or 9?
You don't know? You don't know?
How do they not know?
How can he not know?
I guess they're not quite certain if one of them is American or something like that. Hey, Qatar, how many American citizens does Hamas have again? 8 or 9. 8 or 9? Yeah, because one of them has an American passport and everything, but he doesn't like baseball, so we think he might be a Frenchman in disguise. According to Kirby, the pause being extended will result in the release of 20 more individuals, women and children. Gosh, being a man must suck. America's hoping to extend the pause until all of the hostages are released. And Israel said that it will extend the pause for up to 10 days if the hostages keep getting freed. But the president of Israel, Netanyahu, said that he will not be ending the war. "We are continuing until the end, until victory. Nothing will stop us." Next, I want to cover something that will strike a chord with everyone watching. China's version of the CDC, the NHC, just made a chilling announcement when they asked hospitals around the country to operate for longer hours and open up more clinical centers. It's something from our worst nightmares that have been all too real in recent memory. Hospitals overcrowded, doctors coming out of retirement, patients waiting up to 8 hours for treatment. Only this time, a lot of those afflicted are children. Medical personnel at Tianjin's Children's Hospital said that they were seeing between 10,000 and 12,000 visits of people with respiratory problems every day. Wow, that's a lot. I was trying to make it all dramatic for you guys to get you interested in the story, but now I feel like a parrot who's been shown magic tricks. I can't tell if the parrot is talking human and saying, ah, or if he just legitimately sounds like that, like that's just his natural bird sound. Okay, that feels a little better. We all feeling better, yeah? Now, I'm sure like me, you want to know what on earth is going on here, and unfortunately, China isn't exactly being transparent about this whole thing. I know, it's shocking. So the WHO reached out and was like, hey China, what's going on? We heard about the children's, you guys aren't having another pandemic, right? China responded with data and clinical tests that showed that the rise in respiratory illnesses came from a variety of pathogens, mostly influenza. Best of all, according to the WHO report, Chinese authorities advised that there have been no detection of any unusual or novel pathogens or unusual clinical presentations, which is fantastic. If it's true! The CCP has an unfortunate history of covering up the true situation when dealing with outbreaks. Just earlier this year, when their COVID cases started ticking up again, the WHO accused the CCP of underreporting their official numbers. And guess what? In the middle of this crazy outbreak, the CCP decided to make it easier to travel to China by lifting visa restrictions for certain countries, because the CCP only ever does things that make sense. Moving on to a 40-year-old ex-reporter who is trying to become the head of Russia by beating Putin in the upcoming election in March. And I wish her the best of luck. Not because I want her to win, but because she says she isn't connected to the Kremlin or other big powers in Russia, and she's promising to effect great social change in Russia, and she's running against Putin. She recently had an interview with Reuters where she said she wanted to end the war in Ukraine and give the Russian parliament more power. When asked what she thought of Putin, she laughed nervously. Oh, sweetie. She says her heroes are Gandhi and Mandela. Aw, you poor thing. Just want to give her a hug. According to Reuters, if Putin runs, he'll probably win. But I think hearing other perspectives from Russia besides the ones we normally encounter is always a good thing. Being stuck on the top of a burning building isn't normally the start of a happy story, but that's where our good news begins today. Take a look as one man desperately tries to get inside of a cage attached to a crane. The operator, Glenn Edwards, probably thought it was just going to be like any other day of work when he got up that morning. And then the building right next to where he was working caught on fire. So out of the corner of his eye, he just happened to spot a man who was desperately waving his jacket around on top of the burning building. He contacted a supervisor who helped Edwards get the cage close enough for the stranded man to get inside. According to the Daily Mail, Glenn said, I would say it was a very close call. If you look at the video, at the way the wind was swirling around there, I tried to put the cage down between him and the flames, but I was hampered by the wind swirling around there. But I got the cage down and managed to get him in there. Making matters even more tricky is the fact that that smoke is extremely toxic, and a change in the wind could have killed the man really quickly. Dude, get in the cage. What are you doing? Just get in. Just do it. Just get in. Yeah, he got in. He did it. Glenn also managed to save another man, and as far as we know, both fellows are doing just fine now. That's all the news I have for you guys today. We'll talk about all the new craziness that comes out next time. If you like the content, go ahead and subscribe or like. I'll see you all next time. Bye.